Hello, everybody. Happy May 29th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders. This is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have another Killingly product, this time a player. His name, Chris Jacks. He's going into his senior year. He's a defensive end and linebacker as well. Chris, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thank you for having me.
And on a side note, it's kind of funny because your name is Chris. My name is Chris. I have a dog named Jax. Your last name is Jax. I think that's a kind of, a little bit funny.
Yeah, it's a bit ironic.
But Chris, before we kind of get into your time with Killingly, just tell me about kind of your journey to playing football.
I never played football until probably seventh grade. I was always a soccer player, grew up playing soccer. My whole family played soccer, and I kind of just adapted into it. And then I was playing football with a bunch of friends, and they were kind of, admiring how much I understood it and knew what I was doing. And I kind of strayed away from soccer and then joined football, probably seventh grade, eighth grade.
Now, why did it take so long for you to start playing football?
I'm not sure. I think the aspect of always being around soccer, kind of not wanting to disappoint the heritage, because that's where everybody in my family played and was used to playing, and then kind of not wanting to be the one that strayed away from it, kind of kept me from it. But eventually, kind of football drew me in, and then we went and started playing.
You say your heritage. Now, I take it that everybody in your family played soccer in some form, as far as
Yep,
from high school and so forth.
just about. Yep.
Really? So did anybody play like overseas or play professionally or at the college level?
No, it's mainly just my sisters who
Okay.
kind of did the same thing where they played until just about college level and then kind of strayed away from it. My
Mhm.
dad was actually a big prospect baseball player who did very, very well and was on a MLB roster until injury drew him away from it. But
Really? What was his name?
Rich Jacks, it was a while ago, but
What year? I'm a baseball guy, so I may know.
oh, oof, oh man, I mm, I couldn't say.
Okay. He must be hating what's going on right now in baseball as far as with
Yep,
what's been going on with the owners and the players and the fighting
all the
about money.
scandals and all that. Yep.
Yeah. Jeez. That's pretty cool though that, your dad played baseball, your family as far as soccer seems like a very athletic kind of family.
Yeah, we always have been.
How's the competition amongst everybody? Is it like
Oh, very high.
I was about to say, is
Very
it
high. There's always a competition to be the better one.
even at the dinner table, whoever eats the quickest?
No, there's no competition there, but my brother takes it by a landslide.
Oh, how old's your brother?
14.
14. Oh, wow. And he beats all of you guys?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Now, does he play any sports? I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he plays football and baseball, as do I.
Okay. Interesting.
So he was a
That's
freshman
pretty
this
cool.
year.
Nice, man. That must have been cool to be playing alongside him.
I've never had that experience until this year.
What kind of adjustment did that take for you, knowing that you have your younger brother on the team?
It took a lot more discipline, because I knew that I had to be even more of a role model.
Hmm. Did that during that time, were there stretches where you kind of broke the mold and maybe didn't look like a role model, but then you realized, oh wait, I have to get back to that because my brother's right next to me?
Yeah, it definitely. I don't say it happens often, but
Mhm.
there's times where you act in manners that you shouldn't have, and just do things kind of out of aggression while on the field, and you're kind of like, okay, I gotta tame it down and make sure he knows the right way to play.
Now, the one thing I've noticed about the Killingly football program, and I mentioned this to Coach Neal, is that I've admired you guys from afar. The way the program is ran, the way you guys play football, and just kind of just the blue collar, pick up your lunchbox and go. That's something that I've really noticed about the Killingly football side.
hmm we preach discipline and respect.
Now, does that come from the head coach, or is that something where it's the players that kind of police themselves?
It's initiated by the coach, but we have a group called the Leadership Council on our team, which
Okay.
is basically, not the captains, but one step down from the coaches, and they kind of orchestrate everything on a team level, and
Mhm.
they try to solve problems and teach things the right way before having to go to the coaches.
Tell me about this leadership council because I know Coach Neal mentioned this to me earlier prior to me interviewing him, but just tell me about it because I'm intrigued.
All right, it's probably about a half dozen to a dozen guys
Mhm.
that are selected by the coaches, guys that are reliable, trustworthy, and do things the right way. And they're basically the foundation of the team. They teach the kids, they have their own groups to kind of teach everybody, and they are like the one step down from the coaches, where if there's, a dispute between teammates, they're
Mhm.
the first to step in and break it up, and they are the leaders without being the captains. And any issue on a team level goes to them first and then to the coaches, and the coaches kind of rely on them to take care of any issues that are, outgoing, or any issues that start to happen.
Now, with having so many, you said up to a dozen. So, what would happen if one or two players, because obviously not every player is going to be the same as far as handling a situation. What happens if you have a dispute amongst your fellow, leadership, captains or however you like to call it, where one agrees on one side and one wants to do another side when it comes to a dispute?
It goes back to the other members,
Okay.
and it's the other members' responsibility to prevent that from happening. And if it does happen, break it up.
Okay, interesting. It's almost like, what we said earlier about policing and kind of allowing the coaches to worry about coaching and you as the players kind of policing yourselves and holding yourselves accountable if a freshman or a sophomore doesn't do his job or even a junior or senior
Yep.
who uh, is not acting what he should be being an older statement.
Yep. It's kind of what it
Pretty
is.
cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. There's not too many because I broadcast in the NVL and I never heard of a leadership council. It's just captains. So that's something
Mhm.
new. I like that. That's pretty cool. All right. So going back now to yourself, specifically your first couple years with Killingly, what was it as far as what game or what year did you feel like that you felt comfortable because you were so new to football for where you felt like, okay, now I have a grasp when it comes to this football thing?
It was definitely the 2017 year, the year that we won the state championship, because all of the upperclassmen and the leaders before us had
Mhm.
all been in our shoes, and they helped us adapt and kind of taught us the right way to do it. And we, everyone on that team now owes a lot of respect to them, because they set the foundation for doing the right thing and doing the right thing all the time.
Now, do you have that ring next to you?
I have it over there. You want me to grab it?
Yeah, come show it. Let everyone see the ring. That is pretty cool. I would show that off. That's really cool. I like the diamonds there. See,
Mhm.
that's what people could when you win championships, that's what you get.
Mhm.
That's really cool. What's the bottom say? Killingly, and then what's the bottom?
Our record of 13-0.
Nice. And then who did you beat that year? I know who you beat, but for people who may not know.
In the final,
Correct.
Barlow.
That's a good program.
Yes, it is. It always has
Very good
been.
program. Now that's cool, man. To be able, I'm sure that you don't strike me as the kind of player that kind of looks back and rests on his laurels. But I would think every now and again before you go to bed, or perfect example during the quarantine, you kind of look back on that ring like I was on a team that accomplished something pretty good.
Yep. It's definitely going to be a story to tell
Mm.
for even the future, and just whenever the opportunity presents it, to say, I was a part of that team, and I have the ring to show it, and the name on the wall to say, I was there for that historic moment.
Watching film of you, and I've watched a lot of it, and as well as a couple other of your teammates as well, who are going to come on my show later, on during the week and so on. The one thing I noticed about your play is that you play with kind of like your hair is on fire, like a relentless motor. So is that something that you've always had, even going back to your soccer days?
Um, Sometimes,
Okay.
not. It's something that has always kind of, been there, mean, with soccer, it was kind of hard to have, that much aggression because there's only a certain things that you can get away with.
Mhm.
But I definitely commend kind of our linebacker coach, Coach Caffrey, for basically saying, you have to flip that switch and turn it on. There's nothing I can say or do that will make that happen. It's all up to you, and then that kind of gets you going between hearing the national anthem and just knowing that you're there, you're lucky enough to be there, and the rush of playing under lights with so much crowd roar is just adrenaline and it's fueling.
So as soon as the ball is kicked off, the switch flips up.
Yep. Actually, it switches off during or just start of the national anthem.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, okay. Switch on, switch off.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay, okay. Now, when you first started playing football, obviously you were behind the 8 ball per se just because you didn't have really any reps because you were playing
Hmm.
soccer. Were you able to, as soon as you started playing for Killingly, you know, were you able to kind of get acclimated to the game as far as adjusting to it?
Yeah, I actually adapted very, very quickly. I had a lot of friends that were, around me that could, give me directions and pointers.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is just kind of, based off having a knowledge of it and knowing how to play, but never putting the skills to use.
What is through your first 3 years, what exactly what would you say is probably the biggest thing that you have learned since your freshman year being at Killingly? It could be something mental or it could be something on the field.
Um, pre- Hard work and never give up. Those are some things that
Mhm,
kind of have to understand, and that one more rep mentality. Say you got to do 500 push-ups, you do 501.
mhm.
Just always give it the best you can whenever you can because you'll never know when you won't be able to do it again.
Now is that something that the coaching staff preaches, or is that something amongst the leadership council?
It's a bit of both.
Okay, interesting. I like that. It really does seem like there's a right I don't want to say a right culture because I feel like that's not doing justice, but it seems like there's a pure culture. I guess that's a better way.
Mm.
The pureness that is kind of uh, run through the not just the program but the players itself, where you guys really have a sense of okay, it like even like talking to you right now, man, the professionalism and just the maturity on you. It's like you're very serious. I can tell right off the bat, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's
No.
bad.
Yeah, we preach a lot of discipline and doing things the right way. Coach Neal is a great coach, and he always preaches discipline. Do not be the team that gets the penalty. Do not be the team that causes that 15-yard penalty, because in the end, that 15 yards could be the difference between a win and a loss.
Is there any game in particular that you've played thus far through your first 3 years that you felt like you had your best game?
Um, Probably New Fairfield this year
Mhm,
was one of the better games that I've taken part in. Between just all the adrenaline rush from before and all the things that happen, and New Fairfield was very, very good program, great program, very well coached, great players that did things the right way, and being able to have a good fight with them and have fun while doing it, while feeling so welcomed there, was definitely helping.
and with you being as talented as you are, man, you must be getting some kind of interest or maybe even offers from colleges, correct?
I've been in contact with a couple coaches, but there's not too much out there right now. I know recruiting is kind of pretty stalled with COVID, but we're doing our best to get our name out there, and I'll be happy with whatever happens.
Are you striving for Division 1, Division 2, Ivy League, academic, kind of what's your, interest as far as schools?
I would love to play. Playing any Division 1, 2, or 3 would be a dream and a blessing. You always want to strive to be a Division 1 player and the best player you can be. But I would be more than happy with any offer and any ability to play in college.
Are you someone that's okay if you leave the state? Like if someone from, I don't know, Wyoming, for example, was interested in you, or Mississippi? I'm just naming places. Would
Mhm.
you be willing to leave the state?
I would be willing to. I would want to kind of explore opportunities and see what other places and environments have. Connecticut can get pretty boring after a while.
Yeah, you could say that again. But I think for someone who, is as mature as you are, I think you could handle going thousands of miles away from Connecticut and still be able to do well, because it doesn't hurt to kind of see other sides of this, other parts of the country, to really get an
Mhm.
idea of, almost like in a positive way, have culture shock,
Yep.
you know? But that's good, man. That's really good to hear. I know some players want to stay in state, and the ones that go out of state, I'm all for it. I'm all for players that want to stay in state too. Some are not at the mature level as you are, but the ones that want to go outside, all power to you. Go out and go see the world.
Yep.
Now,
Yep. I
last
agree.
question. Now, last question for you, Chris, and I really do appreciate you coming on.
No
What
problem.
What are the things that you want to work on for your senior year?
Um, I definitely want to become a better player on and off the field.
Hmm.
I want to, work harder than I ever have and do my best to become not only a leader, but somebody that the younger kids can kind of look back on and say, wow, this guy, really helped me go through here. He really helped me do a lot of things. And I want to be able to devote more time to the community and making the community better and welcome our mascot changes and all of that, with open arms and just keep everybody, loving and enjoying Killing football games.
Chris, I really do appreciate you coming on. I wish you nothing but the best of luck your senior year. You're welcome to come back on anytime if if you commit somewhere, or you guys are on a good streak as far as wins. You're always welcome to come on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Enjoyed today.
That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.